I don't know his name. I never did. Actually, to this day, I'm not even sure he was a real delivery guy. Maybe it was some weird setup with the front desk, or I don't know, maybe he just showed up because he knew I'd be watching. The fact is, for 211 days, that guy walked past my building, always around 5 in the afternoon, always with that delivery bag on his back, and never, ever delivering anything. Sometimes he'd walk slowly, phone in hand, like he was looking for an address. Other times he'd be running, like he was late, but he always had just enough time to throw a quick glance toward my side of the street. And I, ridiculously predictable, was always there. At the second floor window, sitting on the couch, half a glass of juice in hand, thinking the same thing every time. Will he stop today? But he never did. He just passed by. And I never did anything. Never waved, never went downstairs, never even made small talk with the doormen to fake a coincidence. Nothing. I just watched. Until one sunny Tuesday, the kind with soft light and a warm heart, he stopped. And that's when everything began.
My name is Florent. I'm 23 years old, and I have a dying plant in my living room. If someone knocked on my door right now and asked, "What do you do for a living?" I'd say, graphic design. But what I actually do is wait for the delivery guy to pass by. I'm not sure when it became a habit. All I know is that once I noticed him for the first time, I couldn't not notice him anymore. It was like he'd become a fixed point on my mental map. The red backpack turning the corner, the quick steps at the end of the street, the silhouette crossing the road. And the worst part? Nothing ever happened. He just passed by, and I just stayed. Still, my day started to revolve around it. Like, I'll have lunch earlier, so I'm free by 5. Or, I won't go out today. What if he shows up? It was ridiculous, but it was also the only thing that snapped me out of zombie mode since I got dumped from something that wasn't even a real relationship. You're amazing, Florent. You're just not for me. After that, I kind of stopped trying, stopped going out, buried myself in freelance work, food delivery apps, and other people's stories. But then this guy started showing up, and the world, blurry and dull, started to come back into focus. I didn't know who he was, but the fact that he existed, every day, even for a few seconds, made something inside me start to exist again too.
I started calling that moment the invisible delivery. 5 in the afternoon, the sunlight already lower, hitting the side of the building. The street glowing with that golden filter-like hue. The distant sound of motorbikes. And then there he was. Delivery backpack on his shoulders, earbuds usually hanging around his neck, black jeans, simple t-shirt. Nothing flashy. And still impossible to ignore. It wasn't just him, it was what he brought, even if he never delivered anything. It felt like, for a few seconds, someone in the world was moving with intention. Like that step, that stride, that glance at the sidewalk meant something. And that made everything around him feel more alive. Even me. Some days he'd walk by staring at the ground. Some days he'd smile at something on his phone. And then there were those days, those rare, flickering moments when he'd glance toward my building. Not exactly at me, but in my direction. And when that happened, I'd forget the juice in my hand. My chest would race like I'd run up the stairs.
and my brain would spiral into a mess of useless questions. Does he know I'm here? Has he noticed me? Is he hoping I'll come down? Is he waiting for something? But nothing ever happened. He just walked by, and I just waited. And still, even though it was so little, so small, so seemingly insignificant, I started living for it.
Last Tuesday, he walked by holding a small bag, white, from a local pastry shop, and I swear for 1 second I thought it was for me. I just sat there, frozen on the couch, staring as he crossed the street, delivery bag on his back, pastry bag in hand, that usual quick stride. But his eyes were looking up, and for the first time, for the first real time, he looked at the window. Not at the building, not at nothing. At the window. At me. It lasted a second, maybe even less, but my heart reacted like he'd stopped and shouted my name from the sidewalk. The worst part? He kept walking, straight ahead, crossed the street, turned the corner, and the bag? Still with him. It wasn't for me. Of course it wasn't. But after that, everything felt different. The next days, he walked slower. Once he took out his earbuds. Another time, he looked up, straight in my direction, and I kept sitting there, like always, still, quiet, dying to do something. But my hands were too sweaty to hold on to any kind of courage. Until yesterday. Yesterday, he stopped. Stopped. Right in front of the building. And this time, he looked straight at me.
I froze. Literally. He was there standing right in front of the building. Backpack, of course, but this time, no bag in sight, hands in his pockets, face tilted slightly upward, looking at my window like it was an actual address. And for the first time, I couldn't pretend to be casual. The juice slipped from my hand and spilled on the couch. A cushion hit the floor. And I just sat there, a full-on human glitch, staring back at him, unblinking. He was the one who made the first move. Literally. He walked into the building. My heart turned into a full-blown alarm. I shot up from the couch like I'd just been drafted for war, looked at myself in the mirror, cursed my hair, ran a hand over my face, threw on a shirt that didn't scream pajamas. Nothing's gonna happen. He's just asking something at the front desk. That's it. Chill. I took the elevator down, and in those few seconds, I ran through every possible scenario the universe could offer. From, he came to complain about the noise, to, he's a modern ghost and only I can see him. When the doors opened, he had his back to me, talking to the doorman. "It's 202, I heard the doorman say. "My apartment." He turned, slowly, saw me, and smiled. Not that polite social smile people give when they say thanks, but that kind of smile. Like he already knew who I was. "Hi," he said. I think this delivery's for you."
I didn't even feel the way up to the second floor. We took the elevator, him right next to me, and it was the loudest silence of my life. He pressed the button like he already knew which floor, stood quietly beside me, calm, still. Me? I was shaking, legs tingling, shirt heating up, heart pounding like I'd just downed expired energy drinks. Second floor. The door opened. He stepped out first, stopped in front of 202. "You're Florent, right?" he asked. My voice took a few seconds to find its way out. Yeah."
He nodded, like he was confirming something he'd known for a while. Then he held out his hand. There was a small bag in it, not from the pastry shop, just a plain white bag with a little package inside. "It's for you." I took it, still completely confused. "But what is it?" "A brownie," he said. Then smiled.
Honestly, just a random order. I just needed an excuse.
I stood there, brownie in hand, warm air on my face, that feeling like the floor might disappear beneath me at any second. "So, you saw me?" He leaned casually against the doorframe, like he already belonged there.
I've seen you since the first day I passed by, but I just didn't know if you wanted me to stop.
"And why today?" He bit his lip, looked straight into my eyes.
Because today, you looked like you wanted me to.
We went inside. I offered him water. He said yes. I pretended I was calm. He pretended he believed me. The brownie package sat untouched on the table. The tension in the air, though, that was definitely served. He looked around, noticed my nearly dead plant, smiled.
You forget to water it?
"No," I said. "She just doesn't like me very much." He laughed, one of those soft, throat-borne laughs.
That's not fair. You seem nice.
"I only seem nice." Silence, but not the awkward kind. It was like that gentle rain silence. You hear it, but it doesn't get in the way. It just keeps you company. I took a deep breath. "You never actually deliver anything here, do you?" He looked at me, a small smile tugging at the corner of his lips.
No.
"So why did you pass by every day?" He took his time, sipped his water, leaned his elbows on the table.
At first, just by chance.
"And after that?"
After that, because you were at the window.
My heart screamed, but on the outside, I just blinked slowly. "I thought you hadn't noticed me."
I noticed you so much that I started waiting for the right moment to stop.
"And today was that moment?" He shrugged, but his eyes said yes.
My name's Emmanuel.
"Emmanuel." I repeated it in my head about 4 times. "Emmanuel."
And you're Florent.
"I am."
And now we're finally talking.
Silence again. But this time, it was a different kind of silence, like the first paragraph of a story.
Do you always look out the window?
Not always.
But when I walked by, you looked.
And did you always walk by?
Not always. Sometimes I'd circle the block just to pass by again.
I laughed, quietly, still in shock. My heart split between, is this really happening? And don't ruin it, Florence, and just go with it. He leaned back in the chair, relaxed, but his eyes stayed fixed on me. Like every second in that room mattered.
"Do you really don't want the brownie?"
"I do," I said, laughing, "but I don't think the brownie was the reason you came." He looked away for a moment, then met my eyes again.
"Nope."
"So, why?" He hesitated, then stood up slowly, like he was bracing himself for something big. He walked around the table, stopped next to me, and my whole body locked up.
Because I didn't want to just pass by anymore. I wanted to stop, stay, and maybe find out if you'd let me. Breath caught in my chest, hands sweating, and my heart was screaming, "Yes, yes, stay!" But all I managed to say was, "Want to watch a movie?" He smiled.
Only if there's juice.
The TV wasn't even on. But Emmanuel sat on the couch, juice in hand, looking around like he was stepping into a home he'd dreamed of before.
The late afternoon light spilled through the window. The nearly dead plant looked a little less wilted. And me, I still didn't quite know what was happening. But he was there, sitting on my couch, with a quiet smile on his lips, like he'd known me for years. On the table, the little brownie package was still unopened. He looked at it and laughed.
I should have brought something else.
You brought exactly what I needed, I said. He looked at me, and that look was worth all the days he just passed by. That's when I understood. Not every delivery comes with a bag. Some come with silence, with waiting, with courage, and sometimes what you want most to receive is someone.